at co-host. He's a 5'11" sophomore from Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. I've seen better heads on cabbies. It's Mullet.
And at co-host, he's a 6-foot junior from Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. He took off his diaper and said, "Man, your feet smell like cheese." He goes by no other name than Goose. Welcome back to the Tobacco Road Talk Show.
We're glad to be here.
Very, very exciting second episode today. I'm happy to be with you guys.
Always.
I'm Mullet. This is Goose.
I'm Goose.
Hope God's blessed you this weekend. Hope you have a great weekend. Had a great last week. So let's go over last week's schedule, the last week's games. How do you think last week was in the ACC?
The last week in the ACC came as a huge surprise to me. We had a lot of teams last week that we thought were going to do really well, and they absolutely just blew it.
And vice versa.
And vice versa
a lot
as
of
well.
teams that we thought wouldn't do good, but
Right.
did end up doing very well. Let's start off with the Duke-Boston College game.
I mean, last week we were very hyped on Chase Bryce. Even though they did lose to Notre Dame, we thought he played an excellent game. I mean, yes, there's a few mental errors, but that always happens. But the way that Boston College came into Durham and absolutely, just rolled them. I mean, they carved them up. They were carving up that Duke defense. They had no answer. I mean, Boston College, half the receivers would take one step and the defender would be looking the other way.
That's really how it was.
I mean,
costly turnovers for Duke. Five turnovers.
Five turnovers for Duke.
And at least two or three in the red zone, I believe.
I believe you're correct.
Very, very costly mistakes. Those are at least 14 points, or potentially up to 14 points you're losing right there.
Right.
And that would be basically the game. Now, how about the production from Boston College's quarterback?
Wow, I was very impressed.
I was very
impressed. I didn't know what Boston College was going to look like, considering the fact that they had, that first week of ACC football off.
Same, yep.
And I had no idea what they were going to look like. I didn't know what I was expecting. I sat down there and watched it. I was like,
they came out full guns a-blazing.
I mean,
they came out and did it.
They came out. They knew what they had to get done. They straight up did it, and no one was stopping them. Yeah, Duke scored a little bit, but that was a blowout.
Now, let's move on to Clemson Citadel. Ant and Boot. All right, next one. I'm just kidding.
I will say, Clemson has scored 0 points in the fourth quarter this year. Granted, they're not trying, but how does that impact Trevor Lawrence later in the season when it's playoff time? And he has to play all the game, but he's not being conditioned enough to play.
Well, Trevor Lawrence has had this same experience in the past. He is a junior now. He has the experience. Only one loss in his college career. He's been very, very dominant, to say the least. I say, you see Mr. Trevor right here. Very great college player. I'm excited to see what he does this year, especially since he's not playing state. I'm excited to see what happens. So, great all-around game. Let's move on over to Louisville and Miami.
You said it last week.
I told you last week. Miami is back.
Miami is back. I will give it to you. You had that one. You hit the nail right on the head.
I hit the nail on the head.
And did it again.
Yes.
I mean, Miami. De'Aaron King. My gosh, folks.
Amazing. He was spectacular, to say the least.
But that Louisville defense definitely helped them. That Louisville defense was terrible. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
47 points put up by the Hurricanes.
Yes, I mean...
And that's pretty quality right there, to say the least.
Yeah, that's not a bad outing.
No, it's not horrible. I guess, 47 points, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the state weight game. What were your thoughts on the Pack and the Deeks?
My thoughts... let's see. State's defense, yes, they gave up, 42 points. But, their defense played clutch when they needed to.
They got the 2 stops there at the end when they needed to get the 2 stops.
Exactly. When they needed to get stops, they got it done. So, I mean, yes, they gave up 42 points, but I would say State's defense played well for what for
not
when they
knowing
needed
what
it.
to do. Yes.
Right.
Yes, I thought they played good. Big improvement by NC State's offense.
Oh, big improvement.
Looking for that.
Devin Leary.
Running back, Devin Leary didn't play, so.
Exactly.
Hawkman came in, did the job. 191 yards, touchdown, interception. Costly pick. Could have put the game away right there, but the Wolfpack got the dub in the end. Now, the play of Ricky Persson, Zonovan Knight, or Zonovan Bam Knight, and Jordan Houston, those three guys played exceptionally. Your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, I thought Hawkman really stepped up, and I thought the running game for State was working. I mean,
right from the get-go.
Right from the get-go. I mean, they came out the gates and they got that working, and I think State, that's the key for them. If they can use their running game, that will take the pressure off of their quarterbacks. And if you have, I mean, that's also the same for every team, but especially State with their depth at running back. I think if you get that starting, you get that working, they've got a shot to play in just about any game.
And Tim Beck is a run-first running offensive coordinator who was at Nebraska and Texas and Ohio State. Didn't get much credit, but now we're starting to see that he should have gotten a lot of credit.
Exactly.
Now, we'll go on to our last game. We'll skip Notre Dame because it was just an ant and boot game right there. We will go to Georgia Tech and UCF.
Like I said with Duke, 5 turnovers is not going to help you win any game. Georgia Tech, I'm sorry, you're just not good enough to turn the ball over 5 times and win. I mean, they're plain and simple. Not a lot of teams can do that.
Very elite caliber teams.
I will say
they did hang in there to the end.
They played well for 3.5 quarters. Despite the turnovers, they were still putting themselves in a position.
They were in the game.
Yes, the final score does not do them justice.
No,
it does not. But you look at that game, you watch it, that was a lot closer than what the final score showed.
Scoreboard lies. Scoreboard does indeed lie.
It will. Except when it comes to the final. But
it happens.
It happens. But I would say you're without your 2 best tight ends, your best running back, but you had other guys, you had the depth step up. Jahmyr Gibbs, it was his first game as a college player. First kick he takes back, opening kickoff takes it 73 yards. 3 plays later, takes in the end zone.
Very true.
You couldn't be any happier as a Tech fan. Like as a Georgia Tech fan, that is
way to start the game.
That is a way to start the game. Yes, you let them come down and score right after, but what'd you do? You got the ball back and you scored again.
Exactly. You set the tone. But
as a Georgia Tech fan, you would have been happy with the performance in the first quarter.
Very true.
But UCF,
they're just too good.
But now, speaking of UCF, with the cancellation of the Notre Dame Wake Forest game, the East Carolina UCF game has been moved up to prime time on ABC at noon.
Noon o'clock game.
Noon o'clock.
Very amazing right there. Well, let's move on to our Player of the Week. Player of the Week sponsored
by TriMedexpress. The TriMedexpress Player of the Week is De'Aaron King from the University of Miami.
We need to say more.
Do we need to say more? He threw all over Louisville.
18 for 30, 300 plus yards, and
I think what was it,
355,
3 touchdowns.
A lot of he annihilated that defense.
He carved them up.
Carved like a pumpkin. Speaking of pumpkin, we're getting close to Halloween, so
October
went crazy. He went crazy.
He did.
All right, now let's move on to our final segment, the pick'ems for this week.
The pick'ems for this week. So, what we do is we have our boards right here, and we have all the games written down, and we will make our picks, and we'll tell you what you think about what we
doggies.
think. Yes, sir.
All right, the first game, Louisville at Pitt. Mr. Goose, who do you have there?
You know me in my top 5 last week. I have the Pitt Panthers. The Pitt Panthers, their defense. Yes, they played Syracuse last week, but they allowed 10 points. Listen, I'm happy. As a defensive coordinator, I'm happy if my team only gives up 10 points.
Very true, very true. I would be the same.
I'm
looking for a bounce-back game for Kenny Pickett and his offense right there.
Yeah, correct.
Not a horrible outing, not the greatest outing, solid outing. But
they got looking
for a bounce-back at Louisville. I got Pitt as well. I just think Pitt at home at Heinz Field, they're just gonna tear them apart. Louisville already down in the dumps. Pitt's riding high.
I will say, I do think this will be a very close game. I have Pitt by 3 here. I think this is a tit-for-tat game, but I still have Pitt winning it.
I agree.
But if Louisville bounces back and uses the frustration from last week's loss to Miami, this could potentially be devastating for the Panthers.
Very, very true. I like Cunningham. Cunningham's a good dude. But we'll see what happens there.
All right.
Next game, Georgia Tech at the Cuse.
What do you think?
Honestly, I got to roll with Tech. I just haven't been seeing it out of Tommy DeVito and the Syracuse offense. Syracuse defense, they relatively stopped the Panthers offense last week, but the Panthers aren't exactly one of the high caliber offenses of this league. They're solid offense, but they're not, they're not your Clemsons, your UNCs, different things like that. But Syracuse defense could not stop Carolina. They couldn't do it.
They did in that first quarter, that first half.
Well, it took Hal a little bit to get open, but then once they did, they destroyed. And I just like how Tech played last week against UCF. I'm looking for a bounce back today. They were that close. I just couldn't finish up the game, and I like Tech in this one.
So you had the Yellow Jackets going 2-1 here after 3 weeks in ACC football play. Alrighty. I also had the Yellow Jackets. I believe Georgia Tech will also have a bounce back week. I believe, Jeff Collins, I believe he and his offensive staff have worked with Jeff Sims, and they're going to minimize those turnovers. And if they turn it over less than 2 times, I think they have a win in this game. Which, that sounds like a duh. But with the way they've been playing the past couple weeks,
you never know.
Turnovers have been problems.
You never know.
They've been problematic for the Yellow Jackets, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs goes off. I think that's what's going to happen. It's bound to happen at some point. And keep in mind, the Yellow Jackets are 1-0 and on the road in ACC play this year. Do they make it 2-0? I believe so.
We'll see. We're about to find out. Duke at Virginia. Do you have the Devils or the Cavs in this game?
I have the Cavaliers. I mean, Duke, there is nothing. You have no film on Virginia right now. You have a couple games from last year.
But not really, because Bryce Perkins was there last year.
Bryce Perkins is gone.
Loss of Bryce Perkins,
You've got a UVA team who's been sitting there scouting you for 2 weeks. 2-3 weeks, whatever. This is the 3rd week, so 2 weeks. You scout them for 2 weeks. You know what you're doing. I just like UVA. I still don't. I mean, yeah, it's like, you lose a Bryce Perkins. That's going to hurt. You would want Bryce Perkins to stay forever if you really could. But I still think the Cavs are just too much for the Devils right now.
I gotta go on agreement with that. Gotta pick the Cavs. My dad's from Virginia. Obviously, I'm impartial to Virginia. I like what Mendenhall is doing up there in Charlottesville. Mike London, he didn't do much at UVA, to say the least. Bronco inherited a team full of potential, but at the same time, started off a 2-12 season. Last year, a big program builder finally beat Virginia Tech for the first time since 2003.
That is
first
a
time
big
since
win. That is a big win for that Virginia.
That's the first time in our lifetimes that we saw Virginia beat Virginia Tech.
That is a very good point. That's a very good point.
So I like the way that UVA's football team is trending. It's trending upward, and I just feel like Duke's. They don't have it figured out. Anything to me.
They haven't. They proved, week 1 that they could hang.
But they couldn't.
But they can't finish. They have not shown me that ability.
I mean, you eliminate the turnovers, and the games will be different.
Again, yeah,
that's
exactly.
The story that's the story of everything.
So, what are you thinking about this Texas State at Boston College game?
Oh man,
it's a tough one.
It's a very tough one. I'm gonna go Texas State. I thought about it, but
I don't know about that one, man.
Man, because it's BC, I'm gonna have to go BC. I like the play out of BC's quarterback. I just like the all-around play around BC's receivers. Found a way to get open against Duke so easy, like it was light work, and BC just threaded the needle. I mean, they were just had their foot on the gas the entire game, and so I like BC in this one by a comfortable margin. How about yourself?
A comfortable margin. I'm thinking, you're gonna have one upset of the week, but this one ain't it. I got my initials. I got Boston College. I mean, I'm sorry, but the way they played last week, that's tough to beat.
That's very tough to beat.
They could put up a good fight against probably anyone right now, except Clemson. But we'll see how that goes. If they, you never know. But right now, like you said, the receivers found many ways to get open. If you have receivers that can get open, you're bound to do something.
That's very true.
It's like they say in baseball: you put the ball in play, good things will happen. If you find an open receiver, good things will happen.
Very true, very true. So moving on down the line to FSU at the U at Miami.
This is a rivalry right here. This is a huge rivalry, but I have Miami stomping them. Mike Norvell is not going to be there. He, as you know, he was tested positive for the coronavirus case, but yes, I have the University of Miami absolutely throttling the Seminoles.
In the words of the famous man Lee Corso,
not so fast!
FSU wins this one. Plays for Mike Norvell. Watching 3 years ago about James Blackman's first game. I liked what I saw, but he has yet to perform up to the caliber that he can be. I think he breaks out against Miami right here and shows just what this FSU team can do. I like FSU in this one just because they're playing for Norvell. Because Norvell ain't there and they're playing with the chip on their shoulder. No one thinks they can do it. Bounce back right here, gets the win at the U.
Wow.
And I'm a big dude on Miami. I think they're back. Just not this far back. Don't have them going 3-0.
Wow.
Bold
statement. All right.
Have to do it.
The game, the prime-time ACC network game. The Wolf Puppies at the Hokies. Enter Sandman. Well, who do you have here?
Exit light and enter night. That's how it's going to be for the Tech. When the Wolf Pack
I got him.
When the Wolf Pack punches them right in the throat. I got NC State big in this one. Just kidding, not big. I think it's going to be a very close game. It's going to be tit for tat. That Virginia Tech's going to be starting both their quarterbacks, Hooker and Blukenmeyer, whatever his name is. I can't pronounce that, but transfer from Oregon, sat behind Justin Herbert. Like Herbert, like what I see out of him. So if he sits behind him, he's got some good knowledge, yes. But I think the state's just, they're confident. They know who they are as a team. They're a run-first team. And I think they'll get the job done in Blacksburg because of the play from week 1, transferring over to week 2. They now have that confidence that they never could get last year. In the quarterback position, they have a confidence in the quarterback position and in their run game. They know who they are.
Yep. All right. Hold up. Wait a minute, young fella. I don't think so. The Hokies fly high against
Turkeys
the Wolfpack. Don't care. The Hokies. The Hokies. Like I said for Virginia, you don't have film on them. If you're state, you don't have film on them.
But Tech is gonna come in with a limited roster.
Yes. But you know what?
Ye doggies.
If Clemson came in with a limited roster, they could still wax you.
But the thing
you don't know.
This is Clemson. This is Virginia Tech.
I know.
This is not your father's Virginia Tech. Not a Frank Beamer Virginia Tech.
No, this is
a
different Virginia Tech.
Fuente.
This is a Justin Fuente Virginia Tech team, who I think steals one at home. Yep, I think State's favored to win this game. In my opinion, if you were to ask me, I would say State's favored to win generally, but I think Virginia Tech surprises people with how fast they come out of the gate. They got the communication down, and I think Virginia Tech wins it by 3.
This has been the prediction show for the College Pick'em for the Tobacco Road Talk Show. Now?
Yep, I have a question.
What's your question?
Now, after the week 2 of ACC football, who do you have in your new top 5 for the ACC?
New top 5. Well, I'm going to do exactly what I think I can do, and I'm going to make a list right here. So I'll have our games on the right. We'll make the list right here. Comment below how y'all are doing today.
Comment below.
Y'all having fun?
Let us know what you think your ACC top 5 is.
Yeah, let's know what your ACC top 5 team is in the comments. So we'll start number 1. I think number 1 is going to be unanimous.
North Carolina?
Yeah, right. You're a very funny guy. Clemson, number 1, of course. I just think that they're just too strong. I love Dabo. Love what they got going down there in Clemson, South Carolina. Think that they're going to be number 1 throughout the whole year. And I'm very high on the Tigers. How about yourself? Who you got number 1?
My number 1 also. It's the Tigers. I mean, there's no stopping Clemson right now. They may face someone later in the year, but right now, I don't see anything changing. All right, at the number 2 position, Mullet, who you got, bud?
As much as it pains me to say it, I've got the Tar Heels. The Tar Heels, their offense is going to bounce back. As of right now, I have them as a 2 team. This could definitely change. We'll see what happens, in the next. They have a bye week this week. See what happens when they come back out. When they start getting into some tests, we'll really figure out how good this offense is, how good this defense is, and see if they can win games in the clutch. And that's going to be important for them this year.
That's an important thing. Now, I agree. That's a good pick. That is a very good pick. But I think you're wrong. I got the Fighting Irish. I mean, they've had 2 strong weeks. 2 strong performances. I like what they showed against USF. Granted, it's USF, but, it's still competition. Anyone can beat anyone in college football, and we all know that.
Very true.
So, I think the way Notre Dame handled business, they showed that performance against Duke was just a little, not enough practice, and just they got back onto it in week 2, and they showed up week 2. Your number 3 team, who you got?
I have the U. I was very high on the U last week. I think that they're going to continue to build off of their continued success. I do think they'll lose at home this week, but I still think that they're going to learn some valuable knowledge. Just feel like this Miami team is going to bounce back.
I would agree with that. I have the U as well. Miami. I agree. I think I have them winning now, but I think they will continue on that Derek King high and I think they'll just flow. They'll throw all over Florida State this week. I think they will spread them out across the field and just pitch and catch and have a ball with it. No pun intended. All right, at the 4th position, I have the University of North Carolina. The Tar Heels, after the bye week, I'm curious. I don't know what they're going to do. They were supposed to play against Charlotte, but that game was canceled. Now they got another bye week.
We have 1 outing for the Tar Heels so far.
And I just
they looked very strong in that outing, but at the same time,
they didn't.
You don't have much stuff on them.
I don't have much to base it on, and that's the same thing. That's why, as they say in Shark Tank, I'm out. I don't have enough on them yet, and that's why I have them at the 4th spot. Where I've seen Clemson for 2 weeks, I've seen Notre Dame for 2 weeks, I've seen Miami for 2 weeks. Carolina, I have not seen them for 2 weeks. I've seen them for 1 game, and that 1 game had me a little iffy.
At my 4th spot, I'm gonna put the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They've been very strong this year, very strong, but they haven't had any tests.
I could agree with that.
USF and Duke, I was high on. I thought Duke was going to be a pretty middle of the road, not much to show, underachieving average Joe. But it turns out they're just the underachieving part. So Notre Dame has not had any tests, and they did cut that Duke game close.
They did.
So it's either Duke is good or Notre Dame's not as good as we think they are. And as we saw from the BC outing, Duke is not that good.
No, but what if that BC outing was just a lapse and playing ability for Duke? Or
what happened in the Notre Dame game as well?
Well, what if Duke wins out?
Duke has not started out good.
What if Duke wins out now?
I highly doubt that Duke will win out. Hear it from me, folks. Ye doggies. The Mullet is projecting Duke will not win out. Very bold prediction, I know. But I still feel like the Irish, very good team. Top 5 team for sure. Like Ian Book. Interested to see what they can do. And I think they can still move up. But we'll see what happens.
All right.
What's your number 5 team?
Goose? Goose has them. We don't like them. Pitt Panthers. Their defense, again, if I've given
Very
up
good
10
defense.
points in a game, I'm happy. I'm content. Pitt's still a top 25 team. I'm still riding that Pitt wave right now until they lose. But they haven't had too much of a test yet.
I agree.
And
with
I
that.
just once I see how they handle a test, then
like this weekend.
like this weekend exactly when they handle. We'll see what they do this weekend against Louisville, and if they beat Louisville, we'll know who this Pitt team is.
Now for me, my number 5 team, the Mullet number 5 team. I have a tie.
You have a tie. Oh,
First time in the
This
Tobacco Road Talk Show history, we have a tie. And it's going to be Pitt and Louisville. I want to see who wins this game. Now, I have Pitt winning this game personally. But whoever wins this game is going up to number 5 spot for me. And I just feel like either one of those teams can have a strong outing. And either one of those teams right there at 5 and 6, they're just neck and neck right there. And so I'm interested to see what happened. And so winner of that will go my 5 spot. So, yes. That is good.
I could see that. I mean, that's not bad at all. I mean, in my opinion, I got Pitt, but, I think I could actually support, whoever wins this game Saturday between Pitt and Louisville gets that 5 spot. But Pitt hasn't lost.
We'll see.
We'll
see about that this weekend.
We'll see, exactly. We'll see about it. Hope you guys enjoy your college football Saturday slate.
Yes. This has been the Tobacco Road Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Mullet. This is Goose.
We'll see you next